Hey, Josh. So I know we're going to talk today just about Rainmaker and what it means, but I just want to start off by talking about what is going on in the world that most people don't realize. Especially in America, we've got this fear of Trump, fear of this administration, and the things that are happening back and forth with our economy. A lot of things that people do not understand right now is that we are in a place where you have AI companies that are in what's called a singularity. Or in other words, we have gone through a kind of change in the way that we work. We're now in a place where AI is coming into the world and the world of economy, and you've got them starting to want to bring manufacturers back to America. You have them wanting to get rid of the illegal, immigrants and people who work for very cheaply, so we can go from being an economy based on people working to an economy where AI is going to do the work, robotics is going to do the work, and we bring our supply chains back to America. So if you go through and look at, Venezuela and that being taken over for the oil, when you look at talking about Greenland, where we're trying to get those precious metals up there for AI technology, for chip making, all of that seems to be aggression and a strange way of looking at the world. But the reason is because our economies have changed. And what I mean by that is we are now worried that AI has changed things, where we've got China out there, which is now starting to build robotics that are military based. You've got Iran and Russia and the Ukraine and all these different places which are now using drones and drone attacks that are all managed by AI. So what does this mean for like the average person? It means that we are moving to a place where the cost of labor is changing. It's getting cheaper. The idea that what do you do with your jobs, because they're starting to slowly get replaced by AI jobs and AI, workers. What are we going to do about that? What are you going to do about your future? And so we're building Rainmaker. You and I are building Rainmaker. So I'm kind of preaching to the choir right now as I talk about this. But one of the things that we're trying to do is get people to a place where they are able to move or migrate from a kind of daily job where they sell their time, right? You work for a company and you sell your time. And instead of selling your time, you need to be able to do the same things that the AI companies are doing, the same thing corporations are doing, where you are able to have AI agents work for you, where as a human being, you are able to collaborate with AI and you're able to begin to do 10 times the work online than you were before. So you're not just controlled by the inflation, because every time that you work a job, a regular job, what happens is you're making an hourly rate. But every month as inflation goes up and wages go down, guess what your problem is? Your hourly time becomes less and less and less. You're making less money. You are having things like, say, everyone tells you the cost of living, it's not getting worse. That's all. Affordability is an illusion. And it's not true, because you still may be able to buy some kind of beef, or you may be able to buy chicken, but you're not buying filet mignon anymore. You're buying a hamburger. Everything's going down. You were driving nicer cars, but now you're driving used cars. Everything is starting to lower because your work is just not as valuable, which I think is interesting, because I know you work for us and you're part of Rainmaker. You're a coach with Rainmaker right now. But you've got to see from your perspective a little bit different than maybe even my perspective of what the effects are of an economy that's making rent expensive, that's making, your money go not quite as far. So tell me about that from your perspective. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think a lot of what we have seen is increase in cost of living in general. And it's happening at a time in which costs are rising, but value of employment is going down, and even the value of degrees are going down because of the rise of AI coming in and taking jobs and kind of, selling out the middle class.
It's an interesting point you're bringing up, because one thing I've seen, and just obviously with having adult children, I've started to see that you've got all these different people that I know that are either starting to lose jobs, or they have degrees. They have really good degrees, and they're starting to not get jobs. And it's happening everywhere. And I mean, are you seeing that same thing?
Yeah. I think a good example is think about the value of a computer science degree 10 years ago. And now, if you look at people who have gotten computer science degrees, they're saying that they can't get internships, they're struggling to get jobs, that they took the wrong degree, which is just insane because it's such a prestigious, hard-working degree showing a huge accomplishment. But now it's becoming not as valuable because AI can basically do what computer scientists can do.
Yeah, I'm a lawyer and I'm able to code my own AI agents. I literally this last week I had a client of mine that needed to hire a lawyer, wasn't able to hire a lawyer. So I coded a lawyer app for her. I coded an AI agent for her and basically said, I know, you're in a desperate situation, and she was able to do that. So, I'll tell you the story real quick. So I had a client of mine that died in the Ukraine, which is horrible, was fighting for the Ukraine against, the Russian army over there, died. And his mom was being sued for the death benefits that he had. And she couldn't hire a lawyer for it. And she was basically had 2 hours to file what's called a motion for default. She had to challenge it and file an answer. So she was older. She was in a situation where she didn't know what to do. And I'm like, look, I can't represent you for this. Not something I would be able to do, but let's do this. And so I created an AI agent for her. She was able to get on there and be able to file all the paperwork she did. And she still probably needed a lawyer afterwards, but was able to stop the default by having something she could go to that just was never available before. If this would have happened 5 years ago, she would have lost to $500,000 because she couldn't get an AI assistant or a lawyer assistant to come in and file something in a 2-hour period. She was, and it even told her how to do things. So, that's a different world. That's a completely different world.
And I think it's important because we're also living in a day and age where as AI is growing, we're seeing just as much resistance to AI and the changes AI is bringing. But what people have to know is everything is a double-edged sword. So yes, there are big issues that come with bringing AI into a new world, but there's also a lot of benefits. And so we have to embrace the benefits because they're coming in regardless. And so one thing I think a huge benefit that we're going to see with AI is we used to live in a time in which the thing that separated the individual from a corporation was employees. Well, now, as an individual, you have access to hundreds of employees, thousands of employees that you can make at your disposal and utilize like you're a corporation. And so I think it's actually going to even the playing field, because even look at what we're seeing with advertising. You have corporations are using Sora and are using Gemini to create their adverts, but that's the same technology that we have access to. So even in the video market, a corporation has the same access to tools that we as the individual have access to.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because one of the things that I talk about a lot, and we're going to talk about as we go forward, is sovereignty. So there's this idea that you have to now take back your power. When you work for a corporation, or you work a job where you're just paying, I make $50 an hour, or as a lawyer, I can make $500 an hour, which will seem like an incredible amount to people, but it's not, because in the greater scope of things, when you're working hourly, you're capped. And when you're able to go to a place where you have, and there's different levels, say you have just one AI agent working for you, you still double your ability. So your $500 an hour goes to $1,000 an hour. But there's different levels that are intense. So our level 1 in Reignmaker, we talk about this all the time. We have level 1, which is the very start. But you also have a level 10 where you can have 10 AI agents working for you. There's a level 100, which is a farther level where you have 100 working for you. You have 1,000 that can work for you. You have 10,000. You literally, so for example, if I want to run a simulation on a football game, let's just say something like that, I can run 10,000 AI agents against 10,000 AI agents in what's called a Monte Carlo simulation, and they will tell me what the game is going to look like. We've been running this lately. It's amazing because it will tell you what quarter the interception is going to be in. It has a predictive power where it's well beyond what you can do, but it's like having 10,000 betting agents, 10,000 bookies looking at a game, and then they decide which one's the best. It's an amazing power, amazing power. And it's something that corporations used to own, but you can own it now.
Yeah, and I think that's really important. I mean, to make that point, I mean, you should talk to them a little bit about how even your tests on Kalshi, what you've been seeing, because running simulations, even on something like sports betting, we're seeing the odds and percentage of win chances have gone up to where winning more than losing because of this. We're running simulations to basically see what the AI says will happen, and it's succeeding.
Yeah, it's funny because I've created an AI agent for that. I'm not going to give away what the fundamental math is behind it, because that's what you'd have to pay us for to be part of what we call Reignmaker. It's a kingdom that we're building, and we want people to be part of it. We're not trying to say it's exclusive. What we're saying is we're a group. So one of the things you have to realize, there's something that has been done in the world, which is that AI can talk to each other and it can learn from each other. So if two people are using a same AI agent in collaboration, which is now something that's happening. So one of the things people don't understand is that you are now part of my AI agent, but I've got some other people that are now becoming part of it. My AI learns from every one of the people that are betting and all the people that are basically going back and forth and building the AI agent. It's not my AI agent alone. It's a collaboration. So every time we do something together, the AI agent learns, but it doesn't just learn from one, it learns from the community. And this is really important because as we've gone forward, say, for example, I built into my AI agent, it doesn't bet on who's going to win. It bets on the math of winning. In other words, it creates a mathematical problem of when you look at the scope of everything that has been being bet back and forth, and you take information that is imperfect, and people are betting on emotion, and you're just betting on the math. And so overall, you start winning on a percentage basis where it's not that you're trying to win big bets. What you're trying to do is you're trying to win in an upward curve. Every day you just want to win a certain amount. And what are you trying to outperform? The economy, right? If I can invest and I can outperform the economy, you're going to end up in a long term being wealthy when other people are not. And we can talk about what's going to happen overall, but part of what is important about Reignmaker, and it goes back to the level 1, the level 10, the level 100, the level 1,000, the level 10,000, and the way you use this, the more people that we get to be involved in our kingdom, the more people that we get to be sovereign or kingship in this world that are part of our group, the more our AI learns and the more powerful we become.
Yeah, and I think on that point, I think part of what we have seen, so there's been a part of this AI resistance movement has been people saying that AI doesn't really work. And I think I want to address this point because what we've actually found is that what AI is really good at is its pattern recognition abilities are what make it so important, because the input you're putting in truly matters to the output you get. If you're putting in any way input that doesn't work for the AI, like maybe you're telling it to do something that it can't really do, it'll try to do that, and then you'll get failed output. And so I think when you start connecting other people and you start building a group and a community that train the AI based off different inputs, it improves and it gets better. And I think that's really important to know, because there's a way you can use AI to be incredibly successful, and then there's a way you can use it to get glitches and fail. And so a lot of Reignmaker is going to be about how you actually use AI to succeed.
I think that's true. And there's an interesting thing you're bringing up, because the first thing that I talk about and you talk about is that the first thing you have to do is learn how to talk to AI. But one of the things that you have to have, because we're changing, there was an idea that we would just use like ChatGPT, or we would use Jasper, we'd use Gemini, and we would get into a chat back and forth with it, but there'd be no parameters for what we were using. Right. But the first thing that we do, and then we're going to do this for people, we build an AI agent. In other words, you start off with building both guardrails for what it can do, but you also make it so it independently operates on its own. In other words, you're creating a relationship. So the very first thing you have to do is you have to get into a place where you have to learn how to talk to it. because how you talk to it is going to be how you get something back from it. The next thing that happens on that next step is you still have a place where you have to verify what it's saying. It doesn't end when you get an answer back, because if you're giving up, and I'm going to keep using this word sovereignty, kingship, if you're giving up your right or your understanding or your discernment of what you're looking at and you just let it tell you what it is, you're missing how it works. This is a collaboration between you and the agent. This is a collaboration between you and the AI. And you have a role, and one of your roles is verification. It has to be doing what you want it to do. And you can't just cut and paste and go from there. It's still a collaboration, and you might have to refine what the answer is. And then finally, when you go back to that final place, in whatever way you use it, you want to be able to be in that place of kingship and know what your goal is and why you're doing it. And when you're involved with more people that are involved with a single AI agent, it learns. And that is what it is. It is a large language model. It learns from language, and it learns from you, because you are the data point that it's using as a mirror in order to create. It's really amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that is what we're doing with Reignmaker, is we're going to build a large language model of different agents interconnected across the country that is going to be trained by anybody who wants to use it. And I think we're going to start seeing a lot of financial success, and we're going to see how, in general, we can become a group corporation. It's the individuals taking back corporation power.
I think that's a great point, because one of the things that we're going to do is we're going to teach everybody how to be what's called an LLC, which is basically a corporation. It's a limited liability corporation that you can yourself fund, and you're going to be able to start this up, but it's going to protect you from taxes. It's going to protect you from liability, but it's also going to let you run a business online using these 100, 1,000, 10,000 agents in order to build your presence online and to make money, and to take yourself out of the labor economy and turn yourself into a kind of boss or a sovereign that is going to run your own thing. And long term, the idea is that we're going to help you become rich. That's just the truth. And when we talk about like the betting, or when we talk about investment and all the rest, the amazing thing is when you see the value of watching your bank accounts go up, when you watch things start going up, you watch your business make more money, it outperforms inflation. It outperforms your job. It outperforms really everything. And the projection is that over the next 10 years, that you're going to have 1/3 of the population that is now working for corporations. They're going to move themselves out of that place using AI, and they're going to be at the top of the ladder. You're going to have 66% of the population is going to start going down, and they're going to be more reliant on UBI, Social Security, things that are basically provided by the government, but you're not going to be eating steak. You're going to be eating hamburger. And I'm just not the person that wants to go that way. I want freedom. I want financial freedom, and I want to be able to be running my business, running my corporation, being independent in this world. I want to elevate, and there is a way to do it that's new to the world. And look, the singularity has happened. It's already happened. The economy has changed. We're already there. We're just now moving forward into it. You really don't have that much time to start preparing.
And just as we're finishing off the podcast, can we talk a little bit about specifically where you think the economy is going and the individual in that economy? Because what I see it going is that, as you said, there's going to be UBI is eventually going to be implemented for people who have lost their jobs to keep the economy stimulated. But on an individual level, I think we're going to start seeing individuals as their own businesses more and more online, and through trainings and through goods and services being exchanged online. The individual become more of their own independent corporation with AI agent employees, and we'll all kind of become a type of freelancer in between the corporation and the UBI.
So some of the way we do things is kind of a secret. You know this. You do a lot of our marketing right now. We both do marketing. We have an AI agent that works our marketing. So we'll teach people that when they come into Reignmaker. But one of the things you have to understand is, and a lot of this is confusion, like why is Trump right now doing tariffs? Like if you think about it, it's a confusing thing for most people. But there's a reason. There was a supply chain problem that occurred where there's a thing called neoliberalism that happened with the Republicans in the Bush era, where what we did was we farmed our businesses out to other countries where we could get cheap labor. We basically used immigrants that would come into this country so we could get cheap labor. But the problem with that is that even the cheap labor of the 2000s is gone because there's a cheaper labor. It's robotics. There's a cheaper labor. It's AI. There's a cheaper management. That's AI. There's a cheaper way to do paper. Even lawyers are under attack. Everybody's under attack right now. And so the long term is it's not going to happen overnight, but it's going to happen over a 10-year period, and that there's certain kinds of jobs that are going to go away. So what are tariffs for? Why are we trying to bring corporations back to America? Is it because we want, Elon Musk and Tesla to start making their vehicles and their cars, through, hiring all these people to work like they did back in Detroit and Michigan and, put people on assembly line? No. Who's going to be working the assembly line? Robotics that are run by AI. It's the cheapest labor that's out there, and you can get a robot to work for you that's run in a creating their robotics and being able to make a car for a price that you and I could never do. And if we work for them, we're not going to be making those Michigan, union wages. We're going to be in a place where we're going to make pennies on the dollar. And so you got to get rid of the illegal immigrants because you don't want to carry them. I'm not advocating for that. I'm not trying to tell you there's an immigration policy. I'm telling you there's a reason for it. Think about it. There's a reason you want to bring things back here because we've already know that China's doing the robotics already. They are running industries over there with robotics, and it's all going to be coming here. And the reason we're doing this is because we are looking towards the future. Physical and manual and kind of paper pushing jobs are going to be replaced long term. So the idea is if you can move yourself from being somebody that makes your money at an hourly rate, which your hourly rate is going to go down. My hourly rate is going to go down if I keep working as an hourly employee. Your hourly rate's going to go down. I already see it with my kids. I see it with everybody. Your degree is not going to be worth anything because I don't need your degree. If I want a master's in business, right? I want somebody to run my business, to write me a business plan that's going to tell me what to do with my business. All I got to do is create a Harvard business AI agent, and I've got all the training I need in the world, and it's going to kick it out, and it's going to tell me what I need to know. If I want a marketer, I can create it. It's going to be out there, and it's going to give me what I need to know. So it's changed. It's actually changed where we're going to go. And 10 years from now, we are going to be a revolutionized society. That's not a bad thing. We're going to elevate as an economy. We're going to be able to feed more people. We're going to have more products that are cheaper. There's going to be a class of people that are going to be left behind. And so a lot of what we're doing for Reignmaker is we're saying, hey, the water's rising. You better get in the boat. We're the boat. We're the boat. We're gonna be a boat for you to get into. We're the ark that you're going to be able to get into. And we're going to protect you, and we're going to teach you, and we're going to help you make this transition. It's a scary transition, but it's also a good transition. And you talked about the fear of AI. There is no doubt right now, there is fear of AI out there, but not just fearing that it's going to take my job. It's a kind of fear of, we don't like it. We're afraid of it. We're not going to be run by it. But the problem is that ship has already sailed. It's here. The singularity has happened. We don't know what the future is going to look like. And you now have to adjust to it. And if you're not using it every day, you're not part of the Reignmaker kingdom. Every day you're not part of the AI kingdom is a day that you're not using your own powers, your own ability of decision making you're going to be run by what's coming, the forces that are coming. And I'm not trying to scare anybody. I'm just saying it's time to make the change. And we're here to help. I mean, that's what we're doing. I mean, I want people to be liberated from their jobs. This is what I do. I liberate. And I want people to be able to rise up out of the place where they are a cheap laborer of any kind and to run their own corporation, to run their own world, to make their own money, and to not be in a place where it's all coming down on top of them and they have to live with the forces that are coming after them. And so I call it one thing, and we've talked about this a little bit, but I want you to be a kingmaker. I want you to be part of the Reignmaker. I want you to be what's called sovereign. I want you to be running your own world. And that's what we're offering.
And just to finish off on that note, we have an intake form that is going to be linked in the description of the YouTube video. And I'm going to have it on our website, which is also going to be in the description of this video. Or if you're coming in through the Reignmaker website, watching this podcast, I'm going to make sure that that intake form is accessible to you. But it's really important that you take that, and we're going to come back with an evaluation of your business or where you're at and how AI agents can be used to help you.
I think that's a great point. I'll just finish off with what we do. So level one, we teach the individual how to work with AI. We're going to teach you how to have that relationship and what personal AI agents are out there. Talk about your health. We're going to talk about an AI agent that can run your finances, an AI agent that can deal with your email. Whatever it is, we're going to give you the basics to run your whole life, and we're going to optimize you and make you more efficient. That's the first thing. You got to learn that first level. But level two is going to be a little bit different because we're going to turn you into a corporation, your own corporation. We're going to fix your taxes. We're going to put you in a place where you have a business, you make money outside of the labor market, and we're going to elevate you to a place, and we're going to make you part of a group that's like you. It goes on. From level three after that, we're going to be able to put you in a place where as the group, you're going to be able to make a lot more money. And here's the thing. There's a level 4 and 5, and we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, this has been a great podcast, and we're really excited to get Reignmaker going and start helping people in kind of an age of fear and uncertainty. So, yeah, it's been great talking to you, James.
All right. You too, Josh. It's done. All right. I'll talk to you later.
Talk to you later. Bye.